Right. Hello, YouTube. Today, I'm going to be looking at some harmonics. I just want to make this video so I can reference back to you guys whenever I reference harmonics a lot in my videos, and for that reason, I just want to have a video to reference people back at, because I knew when I started doing sound design stuff, I never knew what harmonics or like fundamental tones or any of these things were when people were talking about them in videos, and I was like, I couldn't find any good resources on them, and therefore I want to create a video which just like gives you the basics real quick, gives you like a quick rundown, so I can reference you guys to this video if I need to, because I feel like I'm gonna be making some more videos in the future, and therefore I just want to explain it here so you can come back and check it out. So yeah, so what is a harmonic? And the most basic way to explain a harmonic is to look at what is known as a sine wave. And if you don't know waves yet, that might be another video. I don't know if I can explain it, but you know, high school mathematics, trigonometry, yeah, I cannot assign a sine wave. Sinus, sine. I don't know what it is in English, because English is not my first language. But that is a basic sine wave. It goes up and it goes back down in a real smooth manner, and that is a sine wave. And if you look at the frequencies that a sine wave has, because all sounds exist because of a bunch of frequencies they create. And here I have an EQ link to this synth serum. You'll notice that it only has one harmonic. So that's basically harmonics. All these lines you see right here, which is basically one right now, created by a sine oscillator. And these are harmonics. That's the most basic way to explain it. And what's interesting is the sine wave, all known sound that can ever be conceived can exist out of sine waves. So when someone speaks to you or you hear a song, the entire song is constructed out of sine waves, it kind of blew my mind the first time I heard it. I heard that news. So let's look at something like a saw wave, which basically, what's interesting about the saw wave is it starts up. It's like what an oscillator does is it changes pitch in a certain manner, or it changes the movement of your speaker in a certain manner. And what a saw wave does is it starts at a certain point, and then it goes down, and it like clicks back and goes back down again, instead of like a sine wave which goes up and down in a smooth manner. So this one creates a kind of clicky noise, and you kind of tell it when you listen to it at a very low pitch. This is like a normal pitch, and when you check it out at a very low pitch, like let's tune it down like 7 octaves, it creates clicking noises because it kind of like it just switches back every now and then, and that moves the air in your speakers a certain way, or your headphones or whatever. And yeah, so this is a saw wave. And the reason there's some distortion there is because of low sample rates, I think. I'm not sure, actually. But what's interesting is if you look at the frequency range, you'll notice that there's a bunch of harmonics now. And what's interesting about saw waves is because is that they have like all these harmonics, which makes it very easy to mix. That's why you'll notice in a bunch of like deadmau5, or like I'm into deadmau5, or like the basic electronic sound, if you make electronic music, is a saw wave. And my theory is because of the easy manner that it is to mix, basically. And like I think there's 4 basic waveforms. Yeah, you get the sine, the saw wave, the triangle, and the square. And I think this has a bunch of other squares, but it's just a square is basically your speaker moves back, clicks upward, stays there for a while, and then clicks back down, and just does this over and over again. and it has that very ATM sound. The first memory I have of this sound is like it sounds like an ATM. Yeah, very, very Game Boy-ish. And yeah, it has a square shape, and you have triangle waves, which actually sounds quite a bit like a sine wave, just a little bit sharper because of the edges, and you can kind of like deduct what I'm about to say. So it goes back up and it goes a bit down, up and down, up and down. And this is the basis on which those sounds that Skrillex creates, those wow 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 sounds, like a bunch of those are created using saw waves because they mimic the human frequency in a very accurate way. And I'm going to illustrate that point about the harmonics all being saw waves, because the first time I heard it, I thought, well, that's bullcrap. I don't understand that. And I'm going to illustrate this using a bandpass filter. So here we have bandpass filter. And I want you to notice what happens here with the oscilloscope. And right here, the lowest frequency you have when you create a sound is the fundamental tone. And the fundamental tone is basically like the root note. It's the basic tone on which all of the other notes are created. And notice how this turned into a sine wave. So just turn it up a bit because the amplitude's low. And mind you, this is a saw shape that's turned into a sine wave. Only because there's only one frequency being let through. And if I move this bandpass away from that, you can barely hear anything. But when I find another harmonic, or overtone if you will, the lowest note is a fundamental, and the rest of the harmonics are known as overtones. So I'm creating a sine wave out of a bunch of, like a saw wave. And this is just to illustrate the basis on which something like additive synthesis is based upon. Something like Harmor, which I mentioned in a previous video, is constructed out of this whole theory behind all sound being constructed out of sine waves, because all the synthesizer really is a bunch of sine oscillators, and together they create some sort of sound. You can even like use a recording of my voice or like someone else's voice. Like let's look at some vocal samples here.
Come on.
Let's take this Laurie Webb vocal and just route it through the same. This is number 2, so we'll route it through track channel 2. And notice how just because I'm letting one harmonic through, it just creates saw waves. And without this this EQ, it would be like a bunch of weird. I'm playing a real low note, that's why it sounds so weird. But this shows you how the human voice is actually created out of a bunch of sine waves. So that to me was a super huge, like it made sense finally that all sound is created out of a bunch of sine waves, which yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it. And one thing that's very interesting about these sine waves is when you create a saw wave, or any tonal sound, there's actually a mathematical thing going on behind it, because what's happening is each tone is twice as high as the previous one. So the fundamental is the lowest one, and notice how it's about let's take the A note. I'm just gonna make sure I'm playing A. And that's E. Let's make A. Like A is a good example because it's mathematically correct. if I'm not sure. Okay, so this note is playing at, let's say, 244 hertz. So the next overtone will be twice that, which is 450 or about. It's like, this is not the best, like this one is 220. If I'm exact, it's about 220 hertz, and the next one should be 440. And the next one should be 880, which it is not for some reason. Am I doing this right? I suck at math, but anyway, actually, it's like an exponential thing. Each one it's like, how do I explain it? Each one is multiplied by the previous one. So yeah. So yeah, I'm not good with math, but basically that's the whole theory behind how all sound there is works, and how harmonics and mixing works. So yeah. I don't know how long this video was, but yeah. Whoa, it's actually 11 minutes. These videos take longer than I think. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, because this blew my mind the first time I heard it. And yeah, thank you for checking out this video. I probably referenced you to it. So yeah, hope you learned something, because I feel retarded. Bye-bye.